Today more than ever, organizations need effective equity, diversity, and inclusion strategies to keep pace. Canada's population is changing. Talent pools and markets are changing with it. With the aging population and declining birth rate, immigration has become the principal source of labor market growth in Canada. In fact, immigration will account for 80% of Canada's population growth. Indigenous peoples, women, racialized people, particularly those who are Black, persons with disabilities, non-binary individuals, members of the 2S LGBTQ+ community, and others all face deeply rooted systemic barriers that impact their daily lives. Challenges exist at the societal level, embedded in culture and stereotypes, policies, and systems that present barriers. For example, we know Indigenous peoples face massive inequality. Many live in communities without running water, housing, or basic services. We know that stereotypes of what constitutes leadership, as well as lack of affordable childcare, have had massive impacts on the persistence of the wage gap and the underrepresentation of women to senior roles. And that we still have a long way to go in ensuring basic infrastructure is accessible to persons with disabilities. We know media often reinforces negative stereotypes about racialized, Black and Muslim, and 2S LGBTQ+ people, limiting their opportunities. Research and experience has shown that a strong EDI strategy linked to your corporate strategy will help you attract the best and the brightest, access increasingly diverse markets, and drive innovation and creativity. A good EDI strategy is also an important part of risk management. Organizations that do not employ EDI principles open themselves to potential reputational damage, which has potential for numerous repercussions for you and your business. Effective EDI strategies are also linked to better employee satisfaction, retention, and performance. Governments, large corporations, investors, and customers are increasingly considering EDI in funding and purchase decisions. And of course, there are increasing regulatory requirements organizations must meet, like the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act or the Employment Standards Act. At the Diversity Institute, we understand that many organizations want to make a commitment to improving equity, diversity, and inclusion, but are not sure how or where to start. In 2011, we developed the Diversity Assessment Tool, also known as DAT, or DAT, to help organizations assess different areas in which they can improve their commitment to diversity and inclusion. The DAT is a diagnostic tool that helps organizations celebrate their strengths and identifies opportunities to advance equity, diversity, and inclusion. By highlighting strengths and identifying opportunities to foster an equitable, diverse, and inclusive work environment, the DAT increases understanding of how to create an inclusive organization across 6 dimensions: governance and leadership, organizational culture, diversity through the value chain, HR practices, measurement, as well as outreach and expanding the pool. Organizations do not exist in a vacuum. Their policies and practices are often shaped by the broader context. Understanding practices and activities to nurture, promote, and sustain equity, diversity, and inclusion are important aspects in bringing about organizational change. The DAT will help you assess your current EDI policies and practices and develop a strategy that will support your business. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of an organization's EDI strategy is how it supports the corporate strategy. Rather than bolding on EDI, it needs to be embedded in the entire corporate strategy and every aspect of the value chain. Do you put your money where your mouth is and spend money with diverse suppliers? Is there a gender and diverse lens brought to product and service design processes? And does your team embrace inclusive design principles? Has diversity and inclusion been considered in how you target customers and market your goods? How do you support your customers? Many successful companies are implementing EDI policies which span their entire value chain. Let's look at talent, for example. Talent is a preoccupation across sectors in organizations large and small. Yet, many organizations are looking for skills in all the wrong places. We all have a tendency to select people like us, and often these biases are built into the way we design jobs, how we recruit and select employees, how we onboard and develop and promote them. For example, jobs themselves often have criteria that are irrelevant to performing the work. At one time, police officers had to be tall. Increasingly, progressive companies are rethinking their job designs and the credentials that they require, recognizing that talent can come through alternative pathways, not always with a university degree. Innovative programs have shown, for example, ways to recruit and develop Indigenous and racialized youth for high-demand tech jobs. Thinking about where you recruit also is an issue. Often we see companies informally recruiting at the alma mater of the executive leadership team, which can leave many well-qualified applicants, especially those from newer institutions or trained abroad, out of the pool. Recently, the DAT has been made available online in order to increase its impact and accessibility to organizations across Canada. So how does it work? Respond to the DAT questions about your organization's practices, policies, and processes. Most questions will ask you to click the option that best describes where your organization is right now. Some will allow you to select all answers that apply to you, and some may ask you to type in a response. If needed, consult with your colleagues or your organization's policies and procedures documents to confirm your answers. We encourage you to take your time to fill out the DAT as thoughtfully and honestly as possible. You can save your progress as you go along, so you can stop and return once you have the information you need to answer the questions. Based on your responses to the DAT questionnaire, you will receive a report with recommendations, an overall score, and a selection of best practices to help you build your strategy to advance EDI. We know that organizations are at different stages in their EDI journey. The score provided is not good or bad, but shows where you are relative to your potential. It also helps identify areas for improvement, and if tracked over time, will allow your organization to better measure progress on your EDI strategy. Remember, applying equity, diversity, and inclusion in practice is never finished. It is a continuous and iterative process that requires regular attention, and the DAT is here to help. For more information about the Diversity Institute and its initiatives, please visit torontomu.ca/diversity. To find out more about the DAT app, or you're interested in taking the assessment, please contact us at DAT app@torontomu.ca.